night alone in my grave. And I pray, really and truly pray, somebody will come and bring me relief. Every morning I'm moaning, I'm alone and crying the blues. I'm so tired of paying my dues. Everybody knows I'm moaning. Everybody knows I'm moaning. Everybody knows I'm moaning.
I'll tell you what, Cynthia, you make moaning and in the morning sound like a good thing. I don't know how you and Scott with your music, and we got some keeping time over here, Matthew. Y'all, I don't know how we got here. We started with blue skies, nothing but blue skies. And then we end up, we were leaning on each other a minute ago. And then we were feeling good, and now we're moaning. Isn't that just how life is, though? One day you're up, the next day you're down. One day we might just hop out of bed. We're so excited about life. We're ready to get out into it. Maybe we're going to start a new job or celebrate somebody's birthday, especially our own. Or maybe we've got something going on, like welcoming a new child into our family, or we're about to take a vacation. Things are going well, and then, as Bishop Pearson would like to say, shift happens. That's S-H-I-F-T for those who are new. Shift happens, things start moving around, and all of a sudden, we went from blue skies to something else. Now, most of us, we like the sunshiny days, the days when, like today, when the sky is just radiating with sun and beautiful color. But even then, most of us don't really take it all in as we could. Jack Kornfield explains how the Navajo tell their children that every morning when the sun comes up, it's a brand new sun. It's born each morning, and it lives only for one day. And in the evening, it passes away, never to return. The sun has only one day, they say to their children. So you must live this day in a beautiful way, so the sun won't have wasted its precious shine. And the idea is not just that the sun goes away, but everything goes away. Everything that happened that day comes to an end. It's over. Each moment is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Each person is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. John O'Donohue, the Irish priest, wrote about the way that the sun goes down at the end of the day in twilight. He said, the day from the first blush of dawn is carried everywhere by light. It's almost as if at evening time when the light is departing, that it's somehow not sure that it'll be returning. And it's as if it wants to remember and recall every object it illuminated during the day, and it goes deeper into the white light and brings out the hidden colors at the heart of light, and turns every lamp of color on so that you get this huge vista of grandeur in the sky. And then, as the twilight ends, there's that moment when day turns into night and all the colors of light are swallowed by the darkness. The twilight is that in-between time where these two realities of night and day meet. Now, our lives are constantly at these kind of threshold moments where one thing is ending and another thing is beginning. We're at a threshold right now. You're at a threshold right now. There was your life before you walked into this service, into this sanctuary. And then you entered here. And you've set yourself apart from your life for a short time and found a space and a place where transformation is possible. And so that when you go back out from this twilight moment, from this threshold, you will go back to your life, perhaps in a new way. For now, we are sitting on the boundary between who you have been and who you're becoming. We are in a threshold moment right now. It's twilight, and there's beauty all around us, especially these musicians. O'Donohue writes in his book titled Beauty, light illuminates the landscape. He says, light will never show the same mountain twice. The light always falls each time on the mountain differently, finding new places that it's fond of, places it's neglected, and bringing out their radiance and presence. Everything in our lives, from the places we live to the people we love, are never actually the same in any given moment because we're always changing, always shifting. It's the one principle of life. Shift happens. Change, the one constant. Yet, can we see ourselves anew? Can we see other people in our lives with fresh eyes? Or are we stuck in the patterns of seeing ourselves and seeing others? Can we allow the light to illuminate different parts of us each day? A new light, a new you. Can we allow the light to illuminate different parts of others, people we love, but also people we fear? O'Donohue says, you are a masterpiece that the earth has created and is creating. This day is a masterpiece that the earth has created and is creating with our help. But when life feels blanketed with darkness and despair, when we've hit those difficult moments in our lives, it can be hard to see the masterpiece that is our life and that is life itself. The Reverend Joseph Barth, a Unitarian Universalist minister, once told of a really difficult time in his life during the Great Depression. He had been abandoned by his family and forced to leave his home, which was on the East Coast. And so he was traveling west in search of a future like so many people back then. He'd made his way to Arizona, and he spent the last of his money buying a 10-gallon cowboy hat. I suppose at that point he figured he had nothing to lose, and he'd always wanted one his entire life. Kind of reminds me of the widow in the Bible story who gives her last 2 pennies to the church because she figured, what else can I do? I got nothing left. 2 pennies aren't going to help me anyway. Might as well give them away. Maybe I'll be remembered not for my poverty, but be remembered for my generosity. Now that's something we can do. We can decide how we want to be remembered. For our poverty or for our love and our generosity. So here he was, Joseph, down and out, no family, no home, no job. and he does the silly, frivolous thing of buying himself that 10-gallon cowboy hat he's been dreaming about since he was a little kid. Later that day, he found himself sitting on the edge of the Grand Canyon. But he was deep in the throes of despair. And the canyon below him seemed small compared to the gaping hole in his heart. He had no family, no job, no money, no vision for his future. He was staring at the depths below and feeling the void within. And that's when the wind picked up and blew that hat right off of his head and right down into the canyon. All he could do was watch it fade away. And that was the final straw that told him that his life was worthless and there was nothing left and all there was to do was jump. And as his legs braced, he suddenly heard the sound of a small bird that had landed on a branch nearby. It seemed to be singing the most glorious song of praise that he'd ever heard. To Joe, it seemed like the bird was singing just to him, calling him back to life, reminding him of the stunning beauty and the enduring blessings of this world. Suddenly, the canyon's exquisite beauty came into focus for the first time. Joe was overcome with a sense of life's majesty and grandeur. He realized then that there was more left for him to do and more left for him to discover, and he wasn't going to give up. Joe Barth went on to become one of the great Unitarian Universalist ministers of the last century. He believes that his life was saved by the grace of a little bird. Was it God? Was it random? He never said what he thought. What do you think? All I know is by whatever name, his life was saved by this little angel that injected light into his world and broke through the darkness and allowed him to see the possibilities. As poet Pablo Neruda said in our reading this morning, if each day falls into each night, there exists a well where clarity is imprisoned. We need to sit on the rim of the well of darkness and fish for the fallen light with patience. Sitting on the rim of the Grand Canyon, Joe Barth was finally able to fish out of the darkness a little bit of light that allowed him to go on. I can remember a time in my own life, you mentioned Sienna a little bit earlier. I can remember after the death of my own little girl, when the blue sky and even the birds' beautiful songs felt like they were mocking me. My heart was in a vice grip of pain and loneliness. I couldn't see a future that made any sense at all. My chest was heavy with loss. I was just dragging my body around through the days like a weighted bag that was chained to my spirit. Dragging it around, hoping for something to change. The sky was blue many days. And on this day, the birds, they didn't seem to have any awareness. They didn't even care about how awful my life was, how hopeless things looked. It was the opposite of feeling connected. I felt like these birds were so disconnected from my reality, as disconnected as day and night. How dare they sing with such sweetness, and abandon. I remember during that time coming to church, not as the minister, but to be ministered unto. And I couldn't sing the hymns because I had no breath. And you can't sing without air, right, Cynthia? So I was sitting on the edge of this big well of darkness, and I was fishing for any light I could find. But the darkness had consumed the light and all the color of my life with it. Darkness was all I could see, and it didn't seem like there was any light to be found. But the church has taught me to show up, to stay connected to community, and to fill my life with live music and beauty. Even when it's so dark, I could barely see my own hand in front of my face, and all I can do is put one foot in front of another. The church has taught me that the poet is right, that with patience, we can sit at a well of darkness and catch the fallen light. Can you recall a time in your life when you were sitting in that kind of darkness? Maybe you're in one of those moments right now. You know, if you've ever been fishing and you couldn't catch anything, you're out there and you're just casting your line over and over. Nothing's coming. You know what it's like, but people go fishing in lakes and ponds and streams because that's where the fish are. Well, let me tell you, people fish in the darkness because with patience, light can be found there. I read a story not that long ago in the Washington Post about a school custodian named Carolyn Collins. You may have heard of her, who one day was about to take out the trash in the early morning darkness when she heard a loud knock on the cafeteria door. She set down her garbage can and she cracked the door open, and two students, a boy and a girl, looked at her nervously. "Can we please come in?" asked the boy, even though school didn't start for 2 more hours. "Me and my sister are getting tired of waiting out here." They explained that they'd been living in their car with their mother, who dropped them off early so that they could get to school and get ready in one of the restrooms. Collins felt her eyes fill with hot tears. The teens were hungry, and so she hustled around and found some fruit and milk and cereal. That was 4 years ago, and the day that she hitched a plan to open a school giving closet. Food, clothing, shoes, toothpaste, shampoo, deodorant, and more, all free to any student at the school, Tucker High, about 25 miles outside of Atlanta. I knew that there were other kids at the school who were also struggling, she told the Washington Post, and I thought, I'm going to do whatever I can to help these kids. High school is hard enough without being homeless. And hours after she met these homeless siblings, Collins stopped at several dollar stores on her way home, the 6-mile drive to her house, and she spent $200 on snacks and toiletries, socks, underwear, notebooks, and pencils. And then she stopped by the principal's office the next morning to the administration to let them know what she was planning to do and ask them for some space. Later that day, after she'd cleaned out an old storage closet near the cafeteria, Collins' giving closet began running. And since 2014, any of the school's 1,800 students who are in need of such things as food or soap or school supplies, book bags, clothes, even prom wear. We'll quietly mention it to Collins, and she'll open the closet. They can take what they need. She has such a giving heart. She is a beacon of light for every kid in need, said Eric Parker, who's the principal of Tucker High School. The school has so many students living in poverty, he said, and at any given time, 10 to 15 kids are homeless. Just like our schools here in Tulsa. Parker said her commitment to our kids is heartwarming. Whatever problem they might be having in their lives, they know that they can trust her to listen and to help. She tries to help these kids stay afloat, she said, but there's another reason more painful for her to talk about. She doesn't like talking about the terrible phone call that she and her husband received 6 years ago, 1 week before Thanksgiving. While visiting a friend, their grown son was in the wrong place at the wrong time and was killed during a home invasion robbery. She misses him every single day. I want to give kids what they need so that nobody has to get out and steal from anyone, Collins said. I don't want any other parent to have to go through what I did and lose a child at a young age for no reason. She's always on the lookout for teens who come to school wearing the same clothes day after day, or who are walking through the hallways with their heads down, not looking anybody in the eyes, which is another sign that they're either homeless or possibly going through some really difficult stress in their lives. Discreetly, she'll invite them to come and peek into her closet. She says, I hug them, I love on them, I let them know I'm here for them. Former students describe the huge impact that she's had on their life. I love her with all my heart. She was my angel, said Kennedy Carroll, now 21 years old, a Tucker High School graduate who is a sophomore at Savannah State University in the performing arts. When Carroll and his mom became homeless and had to move in with a relative that he did not get along with, he found himself living by himself in his mother's car for months until a classmate's family took him in. Mrs. Collins took me aside a couple of times and made sure that I was doing okay and asked me what I needed, said Carol, and basically I told her everything. I didn't have clothes, good shoes, or food, or even a toothbrush. She gave me all of that and more. I always knew that Miss Collins cared. She gave me hope to keep going. I learned that if I could conquer homelessness, that I could conquer anything. Because of her generosity, I didn't give up. Miss Collins says of the children, when I tell them I love you and I see the smiles on their faces, that's pure joy for me. Everybody needs somebody to lean on. Seeing that they're loved, she said, that's my reward. Sometimes it's a bird singing in the sky. Sometimes it's two kids knocking on a cafeteria door. But some way light breaks into the darkness. If we can just sit patiently enough on that rim in those moments and trust. All of this is to say that sitting on the rim of the well of darkness, when you're there, keep casting your line and trust that there is light within. Show up, stay connected, surround yourself with beauty, believe in the spirit of life and of love to break through the darkness and shine a light. Something new is being born in every moment, even now. right now, right here, in you. The sun illuminates your face differently every second and every day. I love you. Amen.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Dragonfly in the sun, you know what I mean, don't you know? Butterflies having fun, you know what I mean. Sleep in peace till day is done, you know what I mean. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. Stars when you shine, you know how I feel, don't you know? Scent of the pine, you know how I feel. Freedom is mine, I know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. La da 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 dee da da da. And I'm feeling good. Feeling good.
Hey, we're so happy you're visiting with us online today. We love connecting with people all across the country and around the world, sharing our powerful message of love beyond belief.
There's something new happening here. You can now join All Souls as a virtual member. Our virtual membership is designed for friends who live outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and who want to engage with All Souls in a meaningful way.
You can be part of an expanding family, a global family really, wherever you are. If you live in Oklahoma,
Ohio,
or Orange County, California,
Canada,
or Cameroon. By becoming a virtual member, you'll be able to deepen your connections with members and friends here in Tulsa and with members wherever you are.
Each week, you'll receive special All Souls content tailored for you, our virtual members. Virtual members have access to pastoral care, to personal prayers, and also receive invitations to exclusive web events.
You can learn more, and if you're ready, you can become a virtual member today by visiting allsoulschurch.org/virtual membership.
We're grateful our ministries are having a positive impact on your life, and we want to share the good news of love beyond belief with more and more people. So no matter what, we need your support to keep this ministry growing and thriving, so please consider making a gift today. You can do so by texting
LOVEBB for Love Beyond Belief to 73256, or simply visit our website. You are a blessing in our lives. May you be blessed
and be a blessing.